Okay, so also the same thing. I have a very short time, so I'm just gonna very briefly touch on food adoption of circular economy for food loss and food waste management. So we all know that the scale and the impact of food loss and food waste management, and why it is very important for us to look into this problem. At least 1/3 of the food that we grow every day or today are all lost. And therefore, it is bringing us a lot of environmental catastrophe as well as economic and social problem as well. For example, everything that we are not using though, we are pretty much wasting it in terms of not only it damage our environment, but also it brings us economic losses. And at the same time, also it increases our food security. So today, I'm going to briefly touch about the adoption of using circular economy for food waste management. And there are three critical approach that we can adopt, because our city has the unique assets and the capabilities to transform the food system. So we can look into sourcing our food grown regeneratively and locally where appropriate, redesign and market healthier food product, and obviously make the most of our food. So there are a few actions that cities can also look into the policies and program, like what Jacqueline has mentioned earlier on. Data collection is a key for us to identify where are the food and how then we can set a holistic plan for it. Then we can also look into develop a reduction or prevention diversion activities, create a space for public to adopt it, and briefly I'll touch on the creation of bio-waste system. Sorry, I just need to pause this for a while. Then next is that we can incentivize or stimulate investment for community to support the program. And at social level, most importantly, we must raise our awareness. So for collection and measurement, Jacqueline has shared a few of her slides on how we can collect. Most importantly is that because food is lost or wasted throughout the entire supply chain, and so for us, it's very important for us to identify where we lost our food and what kind of composition it is. The characteristic of the food, whether is it vegetable, fruits, or stuff like that. And from there on, then we can implement the right policies. Subsequently, we can then design the policies and roadmap. And for more information, you can refer to what Jacqueline has shared as well. Here, I just want to briefly touch on this Milan Urban Food Policy Pack. So Milan Food Policy Pack, main aim is to support cities wishing to develop more sustainable urban food system by fostering cities-to-cities cooperation and best practice exchange. And currently, there's roughly about 200 cities worldwide signed. Subsequently, we can look into adopting the ladder of circularity approach to develop a food waste management activities. By reducing or preventing, cities can eliminate the problems caused from poor food waste management. By rescuing food surplus, cities can address the food gaps, and by recycling food scraps, cities can minimize what ends up in our landfill. Here are two examples that one is implemented in Malaysia. The Lost Food Project is a not-for-profit organization where they work with local supermarket and redistribute the food for those who in need. And this will prevent the food end up in the landfill. So their tagline is feed the hungry, not the landfill. The second one, which I find it really, really interesting, is the Bun Run. So Bun Run is in Hong Kong. It's organized weekly a running event organized by Green Hour, where it involves volunteers collecting unsold bread and baked goods from local bakeries and then deliver them to the organization or individuals in need. This initiative not only ensures that food surplus does not go into waste, end up in our landfill, but also provide available resources for those who experience food insecurities. And most interesting is that they run. They're not delivering by car or anything, and it's very, very collaboration, full of very community-driven and volunteers that run together. And I think it's a lot of fun here. The next thing a city can consider is also establishing a public canteen or space for public to drop their food surplus and allow those who in need come and collect it. For example, in Singapore, we have a vending machine that is self-service and all the items are priced at affordable pricing. In Thailand, there's this thing called Pantry of Sharing, where food boxes comprising common food items are available for those in need to take. And in PJ, our city council actually offer a space for us, the community, to drop short expiry food or food that we no longer want and redistribute it. What is very important is that also cities should consider a natural-based solution, which is one of it is also to shorten our food chain, because by shortening the food chain, we can reduce the risk of food loss in the supply chain and also improve our food securities. So for example, cities can encourage urban gardening. Not only it greenifies the cities, but also able to produce and feed the city's nutritional needs. And also this will repurpose the abandoned space. For some cities like Hong Kong, where we don't have a lot of gardening space, home gardening like hydroponics can be an option, or roof gardening as well. Next, cities are encouraged to drive the reduction and repurposing or reusing, and we can go through that using creativities to reduce. Here in Malaysia, for example, hotel, what they do is they have this new system where some hotel actually adopt an interactive method with food counter, where they serve food only when ordered. So instead of serving food in a traditional pre-cooked line, this will drastically reduce the amount of food left over and uneaten, especially in the buffet setting. Second part, in the middle slides here, you can see Grace Eatery is actually started from a supermarket, a grocer, that sells surplus grocery that otherwise rejected by retailers. They collect the food surplus from farmers as well as distributors. And those food that is unsold or unused, they repurpose it into 3 ways. They make it into a new product like sauce or jam, or they donate it to the needy, or they cook it in the eatery. So what you can see here now is they have a cafe that uses only surplus ingredient. And then the third one is Tart Gelatos, where they re-engineer the food using wonky and unwanted fruits and then turn it into delicious gelatos. So it is very inspiring and very, very creative. The next part is that obviously all cities would need to eventually look into creating of a bio-waste management system. So a legislation for separating the rubbish at source is very, very important, and it must be in the first place before we can implement this. Here, and this example is City of Milan, where as of today, after 10 years of implementation, Milan is now collecting and separately collects all their bio waste from household as well as businesses. and they are implementing this since 2012. And right now, it's 100% collected and separated. Obviously, with the huge amount of inhabitants and densely populated areas, setting up a bio-waste collection scheme can be quite difficult, but not impossible. However, in transitioning to doing that, cities can also consider setting up recycling centers with a food composting machine available for public to dispose of their food, or encourage the local community garden to set up a composting station as well. Here, I'm going to briefly talk about some stimulation activities with incentive or investment that my cities are now doing. So in Petaling Jaya, we have this tax rebate for our household assessment tax, where we are encouraged to adopt an environmental friendly and sustainable lifestyle. For example, if we separate our rubbish, we do composting or enzyme making, or we recycle, reuse, or reduce our waste, we get a 25% rebate. And then at the office area, our city council, the canteen operators actually install a mobile anaerobic digester to create a pollution-free methane gas for the canteen kitchen. And they use the food scrap that is from the same kitchen to feed this digester. So it's a full loop circular economy implementation. And with all these implementation suggestions and everything, without the public actually adopt it and try to reduce it, nothing will really be successful. So it is very important that we also need to stimulate the change. And we can stimulate the change through a lot of, say, for example, raising the awareness and educate about the value of food through educational program, or create more impactful campaigns to stimulate citizens to reduce food waste. So this is my last slides, food for thought. Okay, some of our food go to our waste, but a lot of it goes to our bin. And every time food is wasted, water, energy, time, manpower, land, fertilizer, fuel, packaging, and money put into growing, preparing, storing, transporting, cooking the food is also wasted. It is only wasted when we bin it. So the good news is that food system can be part of a solution. We can adopt a circular economy approach to reduce food waste and loss. We can build food system that can protect and conserve our environment, build a cleaner, livable city while providing everyone with nutritious food now and in the future. So thank you very much for listening. To reach out, you can email to me. And to have any questions later, you can ask me as well. Thank you very much.